what would have happened to Kalidas's play? Ranga says that if Shakuntala had been very young, immature, Dushyant would not have fallen in love with her. And then the play also would not have materialized. If one gets married, it should be to a girl who is mature. So, according to him, a person should get married to a mature girl. Otherwise, one should remain a bachelor. That's why I'm not marrying now. So he says that unless and until I get a mature girl, I will not marry. Is there any other reason? The author asked him that was there any other reason also? A man should marry a girl he admires. To this, Ranga says that a man should marry only when he admires a girl, when he finds a girl beautiful, attractive. What we have now are arranged marriages. How can one admire a girl with milk stains on one side of her face and wetness on the other? So he says that present day all the marriages are arranged, and when marriages are arranged, mostly the girls are very young, and they are so young that you will find milk stains on their cheeks on one side and wetness on the other. Milk stains show that the girl is too young to even keep herself clean and not have stains while drinking milk. That is, she is too young. And wetness on the other side, this signifies that probably she cries. Small children tend to cry. So the cheeks are wet and so young that she doesn't even know how to bite her fingers. And he says that the girls are generally so young, so they are so immature that they don't have any style, they don't know how to bite their fingers also. They don't know how to keep themselves maintained and attractive. One a neem fruit, the other a bitter gourd. The author says, one a neem fruit, the other a bitter gourd. This is an idiom. That is, both the situations are bitter. That is, marrying an immature girl is like a neem fruit, and not marrying is again a bitter situation like a bitter gourd. So both ways there is problem. Both ways are bitter. Both situations are bitter. Exactly, Ranga said laughing. Ranga agreed to this and he said, exactly. I was distressed that the boy who I thought would make a good husband had decided to remain a bachelor. Now, this situation the narrator did not like. He wanted Ranga to get married and settle there in the village. And now, when he heard that Ranga had decided to stay a bachelor till he did not find a mature girl, he was quite disappointed. After chatting for a little longer, Ranga left. I made up my mind right then that I would get him married. So now the narrator takes upon himself the task of marrying Ranga by all means. Ramarao's niece, a pretty girl of 11, had come to stay with him. She was from a big town, so she knew how to play the veena and the harmonium. She also had a sweet voice. Now, Ramarao's niece, that is, brother's daughter or sister's daughter, who was a pretty girl of 11, had come to stay with him. She was from a big town, and so she knew how to play veena and harmonium. She also had a sweet voice. Both her parents had died. So, both her parents had died. That means she was an orphan. And her uncle had brought her home. Now, because of that, her uncle had brought her home. Ranga was just the boy for her. and she the most suitable bride for him. According to the narrator, Ranga was the most suitable boy for her, and she was the most suitable bride for him. Since I was a frequent visitor to Ramarao's place, the girl was quite free with me. I completely forgot to mention her name. Ratna it was. The very next morning, I went to their house and told Ramarao's wife, I'll send some buttermilk for you. Ask Ratna to fetch it. So now, because the narrator was a frequent visitor to Ramarao's house, the girl was quite free with him. And so, now the narrator says that he completely forgot to tell the name of the girl. It was Ratna. The very next morning, the narrator went to the house of Ramarao and told his wife that he wanted to send some buttermilk. Ask Ratna to fetch it. And he told that tell Ratna to come and take it from my house. Ratna came. It was a Friday. So she was wearing a grand sari. It was Friday, so she was wearing a sari, a nice sari, beautiful sari. I told her to sit in my room and requested her to sing a song. Now he told her to sit in his room and sing a song. I sent for Ranga. Now he called Ranga. Sent for Ranga means he called Ranga. While she was singing the song, Krishnamurti in front of my eyes, Ranga reached the door. He stopped at the threshold. Threshold is the entry of the door. He did not want the singing to stop, but was curious to see the singer. Carefully he peeped in. Now, as soon as he reached the door, he stayed there only. He did not enter because he heard the song and he did not want the song to stop. But at the same time, he was also curious. He wanted to know who was singing. So he looked inside. He peeped inside. Carefully, he peeped in. The light coming into the room was blocked. Now, the light that was going inside the room that was blocked because he peeped, and that made Ratna look up. Ratna looked up and seeing a stranger there abruptly stopped. Now, when she saw strangers standing outside, she immediately stopped. Abruptly, quickly, immediately stopped. Suppose you buy the best quality mango. You eat it slowly, savoring its peel, before biting into the juicy flesh. You do not want to waste any part of it. Before you take another bite, the fruit slips out of your hand and falls to the ground. Now, the narrator says that imagine that you buy a very nice quality mango and now you want to enjoy every bit of it. So, what you do is you eat it very slowly, enjoying every part of it, even the peel, before biting into the juicy flesh. And the moment you are about to bite into the juicy flesh of the fruit, you do not want to waste any part of it. You want to eat the entire fruit. Before you take another bite, the fruit slips out of your hand and falls to the ground. Now, before you take another bite, the fruit suddenly slips and falls to the ground. Now, what will be your feeling? What will be your reaction? How do you feel? Ranga's face showed the same disappointment when the singing stopped. Now, the narrator was very closely watching Ranga, watching his expressions. So he describes like this with the help of a fruit that Ranga felt the same disappointment when the singing stopped that a person would feel when a juicy fruit falls from his hands. You sent for me, he asked as he came in and sat on a chair. Ratna stood at a distance, her head lowered. Ranga repeatedly glanced at her. Once our eyes met and he looked very embarrassed. No one spoke for a long while. Now Ratna was standing there at a distance, a little away. Her head was lowered. She must be feeling shy because the stranger was there. And Ranga, he was repeatedly, again and again, looking at her very secretly, very stealthily. Once our eyes met, once his eyes met the narrator. The narrator was closely watching him and he looked very embarrassed. Ranga looked very embarrassed. Why? Because he was secretly looking at Ratna again and again. No one spoke for a long while. Now, both the situation was very awkward, so both of them did not speak anything for some time. It was my coming in that stopped the singing. Let me leave. Then Ranga said that because I came, the song stopped, the singing stopped. Let me go, let me leave. Words, mere words. The fellow said he would leave, but did not make a move. How can one expect words to match actions in these days of Kali Yuga? Now, the narrator, he was watching him and he was also noticing the words that he was saying. He was saying, Ranga was saying that he will leave. But he had no intention of leaving because he did not get up only. He kept sitting. He was only saying that I should go because my coming only stopped the singing. And the narrator was very pleased, and in his mind, he was making fun of Ranga. And what he was thinking? He was thinking that mere words, they are just words. He knew that Ranga did not have any intention of leaving. So he says that how can one trust in this Kalyug, in this age where people speak something but they mean something else? They don't mean what they speak. Ratna ran inside, overwhelmed by shyness. Now, Ratna, she felt shy and so she ran inside. After a while, Ranga asked, "Who is that girl, Swami?" Now, after some time, Ranga asked the narrator who that girl was. So, he was interested in the girl. This showed because he was asking about her. Who's that inside? The lion wanted to know. Now, here the narrator quotes a part of a story of a he goat and a lion. Who's that inside? The lion wanted to know. The he goat who had taken shelter in the temple replied, "Does it matter who I am? I am a poor animal who has already eaten 9 lions. I have vowed to eat one more. Tell me, are you male or female?" The lion fled the place in fear, it seems. Now, here, the he goat, the author is comparing himself to the he goat. And he's comparing Ranga to the lion. Now, meaning thereby, he goat, that is the narrator, he had already arranged and got 9 people married, and he wanted to get one more person married. So he says, I have eaten 9 lions. I have vowed to eat one more. So he's in a way telling that, challenging that he will eat one more. Tell me, are you a male or female? The lion fled. The lion got afraid and it ran away, fearing that the he goat might eat him. Like the he goat, I said, what does it matter to either of us who she is? I'm already married and you aren't the marrying kind. So, like the he goat, he speaks, he says, how does it matter to any of us whether she's married or not? Because I am already married and you are not the marrying kind. You don't want to get married only. So, why the interest? How does it make any difference?